Hey, what's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here back with the part 2 of what if Naruto was the 5th Hokage. If you haven't, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content of this channel. And yeah, without further ado, let's begin our video. The next day, Naruto was in the Hokage office, his office, with shadow clones running about doing all the work that had piled up while Hamura and Koharu were instructing them on what to do. The real Naruto, meanwhile, was reading through B rank and higher mission reports and placing them into two piles: success and failure. He was good and glad to see that only 3 of the 200 reports he had read were in the failure pile. It was then his secretary walked into the fray of clones and paper. Hokage-sama, Danzo-sama is here to see you. Should I send him in? She asked as she looked around. All the clones started organizing the paper better and put them away in the matter of seconds. When Naruto nodded, the secretary left the room as Homura and Koharu turned and walked towards Naruto. I don't know why you accepted to meet with him, Hokage-sama. He'll only try to play for more power, Koharu said as she stood in front of Naruto Hokage's desk, and while Homura nodded, backing her up. I thought that as well, but there was a man like Danzo once. His name was Zabuza, and he believed everyone was a tool to achieve his goals, but in the end, he learned they weren't. I think Danzo and him are a lot alike, so I think I know how to deal with him, Naruto said as Danzo came walking in like they owned the place. The clones worked in silence as he entered the place, having shadow clones do the work, while the real you has meetings. Impressive, young Naruto. Given the shadow clone's ability to send information back to the original, Danzo commented as he watched Naruto like a hawk. Naruto was shocked by the bit of info, but hid it under a yawn. He'd have to remember that for later. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of work since early morning, but we've just about finished. Anyway, what did you wish to see me for, Danzo? Naruto said as he leaned forward in his chair. How do you plan to rebuild the village as it now falls to you, Naruto? Danzo said with a smirk on his face as he watched Naruto. He refused to call this boy Hokage-sama. The two other elders caught the lack of respect, but Naruto waved it off. I've sent out a message to Wave, and they have said they're not only sending aid and people to help us rebuild, but also an alliance treaty at seeing my signature as the new Hokage, Naruto said coolly as Danzo almost blinked at that. We're not even announced your accession to the village or the civilian council yet. Also, what will you do about Orochimaru? Danzo said as Naruto was visibly in thought over that. The two other elders stood there watching things unfold as Danzo tested Naruto's abilities to lead. There's nothing much we can do. I mean, Orochimaru is one of the Sannin. So much short of a Sannin can stop just him. And as the only Sannin we have is Jiraiya-sensei, then we can't do anything but wait until the perfect time to strike, Naruto said as they all thought of that. It was true that Orochimaru could only be stopped by people of his equal, and they weren't about to send Jiraiya alone, so there really was nothing they could do. Also, we'll need to send more of our ninjas out to show that the other lands that Konoha is still stronger than them. So I'll bring control of a root ninja, Naruto said calmly as the other looked shocked, especially Danzo. How did you know about my root Danzo? Danzo asked as Hamura and Koharu wanted to know as well. Naruto rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment as all eyes were on him, like a kid caught doing things they weren't supposed to do. Well, yeah, see, I noticed that on the registry we have 500 ninjas who were counted alive in the village as of this morning, but we have total populace of count of 1100 as of today. So I looked over the civilian registry count and we only had 300 people classified as civilian. I then read through the hidden registry and found that you have a root program of ninja who make a total count of 300, which makes up for the imbalance in the numbers. Also, your program is listed under the Hokage's signature, so I can take command for your operative at any moment I choose, Naruto said, slightly embarrassed. Then he was put on the spot, but the others were wide-eyed. Naruto, the 13-year-old Hokage, had caught and cornered Danzo, the 68-year-old Warhawk, where not even Sarutobi or anyone else had. Danzo did the only thing he would after hearing this. I'll have them ready for your command as soon as this meeting is over, Danzo said as he was still stunned. His respect for Naruto had grown in just that small reveal of simple intelligence that everyone else had overlooked. Thank you, Danzo. Now is there anything else you need? Naruto said as he leaned back in his chair. Danzo shook his head and to get out of his daze as he gazed at Naruto with a far more watchful eye. Yes, I am still concerned about your ideologies with regard to our village, and the ninja world in particular, Danzo said as he and the other elders watched Naruto. To them it was like watching a heated battle, a cat and mouse battle. And for once in their long ninja lives, they couldn't tell which was the cat and which was the mouse. I see. You wanna see if I can make the tough decision when it comes to the village and others as well. Well, have no fear, because even I know when some threats needs to be put down. I'll do what is needed of me, because I accepted this title to protect this village, and I'll do that, even if it causes my heart 100 pains. Naruto said with conviction as Danzo nodded, his respect growing just a bit more. Hamura and looked at Koharu as they grew worried that Naruto would do as they feared Danzo would have been. Danzo turned and walked to the door and was about to leave when Naruto spoke. Oh, and Danzo, that's Hokage-sama to you, because you should know that I lead this village now. And those who can't show the proper respect or who stand in the way of peace and justice can be dealt with as well, right? Naruto said as a chill went through the Danzo's spines at the ice in Naruto's voice as he said the last part. Danzo didn't turn back, he nodded all the same. Of course, Hokage-sama, Danzo said as he walked out and closed the door gently. He now knew that Naruto really was the perfect choice as a Hokage. That meant since Naruto was only 13, that he still had plenty of room to grow. Danzo shrugged as he was alone in the hallway. Since I can't become the Hokage now, maybe I'll stand for assisting the new Hokage. But how? Danzo mused as he walked from the building. Maybe he'd be more than what people thought of him. Maybe he'd be greater. Link break with Naruto. Naruto sighed loudly as the door to his office closed, and he sunk into his chair. His once calm and stone-like face gave a huge grin as he looked at the two advisors. So, what do you think of tough guy Naruto? He said as they looked shocked. That was just all an act? Koharu asked as Hamura chuckled a bit, along with Naruto. Yeah, I saw Gramps do it to some ninjas who were arguing over a mission report. He said that sometimes you gotta be tough and show people you're not too kind. Then he said to never let it take away from the kindness spirits we all have. Naruto explained as Koharu gaped like a fish. I thought I recognized Hiruzen, kind king, evil ruler mask act. Hokage-sama, you're a natural, Hamura said with a smile as he regained his composure. He was old, and Naruto was just what the old needed reminder of the good times they had in their youth. Koharu had to chuckle a bit as she finally remembered having been with Hiruzen when he came up with that. It was nice to be reminded of the good times they had with Hiruzen. With his death still fresh in everyone's mind, Naruto was so much like he was back then in the old days. Yeah. Well, he was a great Hokage. I'll miss him, but I'll keep his memory alive by wearing that hat and those robes over there. Went, announced. Naruto said as he pointed to his Hokage hat and robes onto the coat hanger by the door. Some of the clones started dispelling and Naruto's mind ran a mile for a minute. Whoa, Naruto said in childlike manner at the flood of memories from his clones. Why don't we go out of the office for a bit? I'm starting to see why Hiruzen tried to find every reason he could to get out, Amira said as he looked around the office when they had noted. They had been working since 5 and now it was almost noon. If it wasn't for the clone, that paperwork would have taken weeks, if not months. Alright, I still need to be back here to talk to Pervy Sage at 1 PM though. Send an envoy to get me. If I'm not back, then bye. Naruto said as the last of the clones dispelled. He rubbed his head and ran out of the office as the two scholarly advisors chuckled softly at seeing him do so. He's full of life, isn't he? Amira said with a small smile as Koharu nodded with a small smile of her own. That he is, Hamura-kun. that he is, she replied as the two also took their leave from the office as well. Link break at Team 7 meeting spot. Where's Naruto Baka? It's late. Sakura screeched as Sasuke covered his ears. I don't know. Just like I don't know 5 minutes ago. Sasuke yelled back at her as she gave an embarrassed look and mumbled an apology. Sasuke merely grunted and returned to brooding. But then he saw someone. There you are, Dob, Sasuke said as he pointed to the running Naruto coming their way. Naruto stopped skidding across the bridge and came to a stop. Naruto Baka, where have you been? Sakura yelled as she was about to hit him across the head, but Asuma had her hand in a grip as he and Kakashi flashed on the scene. He gave her a stern look that she had never seen on him before. I don't think that's such a good idea, Sakura, Kakashi said with an eye smile as Asuma released her from his grip and she rubbed her wrist. He had a real tight grip on it, almost as if he was about to snap it. Naruto, shouldn't you be helping out the village like a hokage would do? Asuma asked in a sort of code as Naruto shook his head. I've got an hour before I have to meet with the Pervy Sage, and then I can go back to helping. Naruto replied as he understood what Asuma was asking. Sasuke narrowed his eyes as he tried to understand what they were talking about, but he couldn't. Naruto Baka, we got missions to do. The Shinobi Council has taken over until a new Hokage is appointed. You can't talk to that old creep later. You idiot. Now come on, let's go, Sakura said as she moved to grab Naruto, but Asuma grabbed her wrist again and applied pressure. Like Kakashi said, Sakura, that's not such a good idea. Naruto, instead of meeting here with them, why don't you go help out around the village? The council has done such a good job of organizing today's missions that there's actually a shortage of them today, Asuma said as he and Naruto knew that it was really Naruto and his clones who had organized the mission for the day. Naruto nodded and ran back out into the village as Asuma had let Sakura's wrist go and blurred away. Kakashi sighed as he told Sakura and Sasuke that they could go today, but told Sasuke to meet him later while he disappeared like always. Sasuke watched as Naruto and Kakashi left. His eyes narrowed as he watched Sakura rubbing her wrist. Those two were up to something, but what? Link break with Naruto. He had been around the village and spoken to all the Jonis around, with each of them giving nothing but good reports. He was then walking down the street when he saw the person he had wanted to talk to all day. Hey Hinata, Naruto said as he ran to her. She saw him and her mind ran at high speed as to comprehend what Naruto could possibly want with her. Hello Naruto-kun, Hinata said as he blushed when he was standing in front of her. Hinata, I know we don't know each other well, but I'd like to if you'd go out with me on a date. I mean, you've always been nice to me and you're always concerned about me, so I think we should get to know each other, Naruto said nervously as Hinata turned bright red and nodded before fainting on the spot. Naruto sighed as he looked around to be sure no one was watching him. He caught Sasuke watching from behind a corner, so he picked Hinata up and carried her bridal style to her clan compound. The guard stopped him at the gate and summoned Hiyashi. Hiyashi was when summoned and saw who was at the gate. He grew wide-eyed as he rushed at it. Let him in, you fools. It is Naruto Uzumaki, the one who helped our clan grow closer. I apologize, Uzumaki-san, as they didn't know who you were or your newest status, Hiyashi said as he arrived at the gate, when Naruto only smiled and waved it off as they bowed to him. Hiyashi and Naruto caught Sasuke watching them, so they walked into the Hyuga compound so the boy couldn't follow. No need for apologies or formalities, Hiyashi-sama. I'm still just Naruto, Naruto said as they walked into the compound. Pleasant and humble, those are good qualities in a leader, Naruto-sama, Hiyashi said as Naruto sighed. What did I just say? Naruto asked tiredly as Hiyashi chuckled and patted him roughly on the back. In the immortal words of both your father and your mother, especially her, everything people tell me to do goes in one ear and out of the other, Hiyashi said with a mirth as Naruto chuckled a bit. That sounds like something I'd say, Naruto said as Hiyashi nodded with a amused smile on his face. Link break. They finally reached Hinata's room and Naruto laid her down on her bed. He and Hiyashi then went into the tea room and Hiyashi closed the door as the seal glowed slightly before fading away. He turned back to Naruto, who had a curious look on his face. Sounds and identity seals. Only Hinata or Hanabi could get in now. Hiyashi replied to the unasked question on Naruto's face. Naruto nodded as he and Hiyashi sat down. So, how goes the recovery? Hiyashi asked as he poured tea for Naruto or himself. Naruto took a sip of the tea before replying with a smile. It goes well. The main areas that Orochimaru hit will be cleared of debris by tomorrow. It seems that we've got their aid here on the double and had arrived this morning from the message I sent after our meeting yesterday. They sent an old friend from my first C rank mission as the head carpenter. His name is Tazuna. Have you heard of him? Naruto said as Hiyashi nodded with a smirk. Yes, I have. I have heard of the great Naruto bridge as well. Hiyashi says that Naruto coughed a bit of his tea after hearing the last part. He named the bridge after me? Naruto said with a raised eyebrow as Hiyashi nodded. He had no clue that the people would name the bridge after him. That was just wow. Everyone knows of you as the savior of faith. Well, at least all those who care of news from outside of Konoha, Hiyashi said as Naruto gave him a look. You mean the clan heads, elite Chunin and higher, but not the civilians or the civilian council? Naruto asked as Hiyashi nodded. Yes, I fear the civilians and those of the civilian side of the council have gotten too comfy in their leisure to remember they are not above the rest of the world. Hiyashi said as Naruto looked deep in thought. Is that why they weren't at the meeting to appoint me yesterday? Naruto asked as Hiyashi twitched a bit, but nodded all the same. Yes, we all know they would have outright opposed you as Hokage, but also because in times such as these, only the Shinobi Council, the village elders, and we clan heads held the power of the village. You as Hokage lead us all, but remember Naruto, no matter what anyone else says, the village is a dictatorship, not a democracy. You rule the people, all of us, even me, so know that no one is above you in this village, and if they cannot see reason, then they can just as easily be banished, if not worse. Hiyashi said with a stern tone as Naruto looked visibly in thought. Thanks, Hiyashi-sama. I'll be sure to remember that, Naruto said as he was still in thought. Hiyashi chuckled and gave Naruto a nudge. Don't be so formal with me. I'm sure the way Hinata stalks you, you'll be calling me father-in-law in no time, Hiyashi said casually with a smirk as Naruto spit out his tea and turned to Hiyashi with a shocked face. She stalks me? Naruto yelled in disbelief as Hiyashi chuckled. Like your mother stalked Minato for those 5 months after he saved her. But that's another story for another day. If you ever want to hear any, I'm always free, Hiyashi said a bit too happily and nicely. Naruto blinked as he looked at the bright smile Hiyashi had on his face. Paperwork? Naruto asked as Hiyashi's face deflated and he nodded quickly with a slight chuckle. I see you faced a Kage and clan head worst enemy today, but you looked far better than Minato did on his first day, Hiyashi nodded as Naruto said in a more relaxed manner. Yes. And I defeated it. It was pretty tough, but I managed to get through about all of this month's and the next month's forms and requests, Naruto said with pride as Hiyashi grabbed him by the collar and shook him like a ragdoll. How did you do that? How damn it? How? Hiyashi asked. He hysterically serious anger that was completely unbecoming of a clan head as he continued to shake the poor boy. Shadow clones, Naruto said as Hiyashi cursed under his breath and made a clone to handle the paperwork. Well, now I really am free all day. Thank you, Hokage-sama. You now helped me with 4 problems in my life, Hiyashi said with a smile as Naruto looked at him in confusion. 4? But that was 2. Bringing your family closer and the paperwork. What else did I help you with? Naruto asked as Hiyashi sat up straighter. You also helped me with my problem of what to do with Hinata. I was worried that I'll be forced to place the cage bird seal on one of my daughters. But since Hinata loves you, that won't be a problem. Also, you helped me realize that I need to spend more time with my family instead of with that of the past. I spent so much time reflecting on the past mistakes that it hurt my family, and in the end it brought nothing but more problems, Hiyashi said as Naruto's mind was stuck still on the fact Hinata loved him. Naruto-sama, I have but one more favor to ask of you before anything else. I know you have helped me and my family much, but I feel I must ask this of you, Hiyashi says, almost begging as Naruto shook his head off his thoughts. Sure, Hiyashi, anything, Naruto said, but got the strangest feeling those were the wrong words. Marry my daughter, Hiyashi said as he bowed to Naruto while the latter's eyes were widened with pure shock in them. But neither noticed the door to the room had been opened and two figures were standing there in the hallway with a shock on their faces as well. Link break. Naruto knew he couldn't go back on his word now. He never goes back on his word. So now that he was the Hokage, that would mean everything. Besides, Hinata was kind, caring, and if not a bit quiet and weird, sweet girl. So he steeled himself as he prepared to do something no one his age should have to do. Yes, Hiyashi-sama, I take Hinata-chan as my first wife, Naruto said with a slight confidence as Hiyashi sat up straight from his cushion and gave Naruto a smile. And then his face turned to horror as he looked behind Naruto. Naruto was confused and looked behind him as well, only to see Hinata and Hanabi, just as Hinata fainted with the biggest smile on her face. Link break. In the village, meanwhile, Kakashi was standing outside of a normal tea shop, reading his book as Asuma and Kurenai came up. Hey guys, you two seem to be getting along well, Kakashi said with a slight amused tone in his lazy voice. Kurenai blushed and looked away, but Asuma didn't react at all. Idiot, Uncle just asked me to pick up some dango for her, Kurenai said as she was still blushing. And what are you doing here, besides catching up on your reading? Asuma asked Kakashi as he knew the man wasn't just here by coincidence. He glanced up and down the streets but saw nothing out of the ordinary. I need to buy something to put on a grave, Kakashi said as they both caught on to the lie quickly. Asuma then knew something was serious wrong for Kakashi to blatantly lie like that, so they all played it cool and followed with it. Plus, I'm meeting somebody here, Kakashi said with a glance into the tea shop they were standing outside of. Asuma and Kurenai glanced in there as well, seeing two people with black cloak and red cloud patterns and a bamboo hat on. The two seemed a bit too relaxed, but even Kurenai could tell they were powerful. Just waiting for Sasuke, Kakashi said as one of the people gripped his cup harder and made his grip strap against it, causing a noticeable noise that made Kurenai jump slightly, and Asuma tensed as they all continued to watch the two. The two suddenly vanished into the thin air as Sasuke approached Kakashi. Sasuke commented as he reached them. Kakashi and the others didn't even turn to him as they looked towards each other. Kakashi gave the two Jonin a look, and Asuma and Kurenai nodded as they jumped into the air and blurred from the side. Link break. With Naruto in the Hyuga manner, he and Hiyashi had just been about to explain things they were now dealing with, a fainted Hinata and an angry Hanabi, when an Anbu ninja appeared outside the door. Hokage-sama, urgent news from Anbu Patrol 5, the Anbu said from his knelt position. Hanabi would have seemed shocked if Hiyashi hadn't struck a pressure point to the back of her neck, knocking her out. As the Anbu appeared, Hiyashi motioned the Anbu into the room as he and Naruto had serious looks on their faces. Hiyashi closed the door and reactivated the seals as they began. Report, Naruto said as he was in full Hokage mode. He was starting to get used to it as Anbu had been appearing before him since 5 am. Anbu Patrol 5 was alerted by Might Kai, who was spotted by Itachi Uchiha and Kasame Hoshigaki by the river that runs through Konoha. What are your orders, sir? The Anbu said as he lifted his head to show his bird mask. Bird, I want you and Boar's squad to assist any ninja which are trying to approach them. If guys spotted those two taking a casual stroll through my village, then chances are some of Jonins, likely Kakashi-sensei, have too, Naruto said as Bird nodded as transitioned away. Naruto and Hiyashi then got up and walked out towards the Hokage Tower after making two clones to take the girls to their rooms. You're smarter and better at this than your reports and grades ever suggested, Hiyashi said with a smirk while Naruto shrugged. What can I say? Grades and reports aren't everything, Naruto said with his own smirk. You know, you're the perfect example that our ninja need, Hiyashi said proudly. Thanks, Naruto said quietly as they finally reached the tower with Jiraiya already outside. I know, now we go greet our guests and give them a proper Konoha welcome, Jiraiya said with a grin as Naruto and Hiyashi grinned back. Well, I did miss my morning training, Naruto said as Jiraiya placed a hand on his shoulder And I forgot my morning exercise. Oh well, this makes it up for it. Yashi said as he and Jiraiya used the sunshine to teleport to the fight. Link break at the river. Itachi needed to get away and Kakashi knew too much. Itachi didn't want to use the Tsukiyomi on Kakashi, but it was unavoidable. Damn his now blurring eyesight and lack of chakra. Kisame, we'll take Kakashi with us. We don't need the others. Get rid of them. Itachi spoke in monotone as Kisame charged forward with his sword. Samehara. Sphere Leaf Hurricane, Guy exclaimed as he knocked Kisame away with a spinning back kick which held much speed and power. It was then Naruto, Jiraiya and Hiyashi arrived. As soon as they did, Naruto made 1,000 clones and Hiyashi blurred forward to strike Itachi with the Gentle Fist. Itachi evaded most of the strikes, but he could dodge them all due to his blurring eyesight and the lack of chakra. Itachi's legs stopped working as Hiyashi caught him with 2 palm strikes to each, and Hiyashi disabled his whole body from there. Kisame got up and saw that what happened, but not before Hiyashi and Jiraiya were fast enough on him as well. He tried to swing Samehara down on them, but each time he did, a clone took the hit and Hiyashi disabled a part of Kisame's body each time until the blue shark-like man was unconscious. After about 10 minutes, the fighting was over and the Anbu came out and took the two away. Someone get Kakashi-sensei to our hospital. He looks like crap, Naruto exclaimed as the Anbu nodded and took Kakashi away. Hiyashi called the Shinobi Council and clan heads for an emergency meeting. And Jiraiya, you get the elders. I want to know why Itachi Uchiha has done what he's done without involving Ibiki or Anko. Kisame, however, they'll be needed against him. Naruto said in a stern voice as they both nodded to him before an Anbu took him to the office. You know, he's kinda scared me just then, Jiraiya said as Hiyashi nodded simply. Yes, just imagine once you start training him, Hiyashi said as he went to collect the clan heads and Shinobi Council, while Jiraiya hunted down the 3 elusive elders. Things would be interesting from now on, as this is where I'm going to be leaving this part of, guys. I hope you like this one, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And this is Apollo Uchiha and I'm signing out. Peace.